Who are you?
Assassin's Creed Odyssey's first piece of DLC, Legacy of the First Blade, is out this week. It tells the story of Darius, the first person to wield the infamous hidden blade, and who used it on self-involved Persian ruler Xerxes. But of course, Darius' story is told through the eyes of your Assassin's Creed Odyssey character, Cassandra or Alexius, who will meet Darius as he arrives in the main game's Greek region of Macedonia. We've played the DLC from start to finish, and we have some thoughts. So, spoiler free, here's everything you need to know about Legacy of the First Blade, Episode 1, Hunted. Legacy of the First Blade, Hunted, is interesting in that it doesn't add any new playable areas to the game. It's kind of like last year's Assassin's Creed Origins DLC, The Hidden Ones, a side story all about the founding of an established assassin concept. And yet, even that added a new region for players to poke around in. The Hidden Ones ended up being fairly light on story, however, but Legacy of the First Blade very much puts story first. We get to experience Darius' past in multiple cutscene flashbacks. We meet several new characters to ponder over, and we're constantly asked to question what we know and who we should trust. It's one thing to believe in myths and legends, but when those myths and legends claim to be standing right in front of you, is it right to be a little bit skeptical?
The Eagle Bearer.
Are we that desperate? We're helping somebody move?
What? The guy's got a lot of stuff. Work is work, and a few extra drachmi never hurt anybody. Sometimes, even the simplest things can be worthy of our attention.
That is much more worthy of my attention, Barnabas.
Legacy of the First Blade can be accessed at any point after the events on Naxos in Chapter 7 of the main game, and once your character reaches level 28. If you focus solely on the story missions, you can probably complete Hunted in just 2 to 3 hours, but there are plenty of non-essential quests and tasks to try out, to make the most of your extra time with the Eagle Bearer. It's worth bearing in mind that Hunted is only the first installment in a planned 3-part story arc, with episodes 2 and 3 to follow monthly next year. And it does feel very much like a beginning, with many quests and questions only setting the scene for the action to come. That means it's hard to really get a sense of whether or not Legacy of the First Blade's story will feel satisfying or pay off in the long run, as so many loose threads still hang in the air by Hunted's close. But as a first episode, Hunted has some nice moments for fans specifically, but nothing that felt essential to the wider AC lore or particularly meaningful with regards to player choice. Darius himself is kept pretty mysterious, and while fans will know his name from references made many games ago, his story has been kept untold until now. The question of whether or not you trust this secretive hooded figure who knows a little bit too much about his enemies is asked of you many times throughout the course of this episode, and it'll be interesting to see whether blind faith or wary suspicion of him will make any difference to individual player experience in the long run.
Islios, watch out! More people near the Spartan camp need help.
Persians?
Eagle Bearer.
You?
You are the eagle bearer?
Go!
The huntsman will be pleased when we bring him your head.
You're welcome to try.
Your enemies in Legacy of the First Blade are a new branch of the Order of Ancients, the Proto-Templar team which troubled Bayek in Origins. This specific group are the Persian branch, hunting down Darius because of his Xerxes neck stab, and wanting to bring down Cassandra and or Alexios because of their growing reputation as a super powerful mercenary. Odyssey has made the protagonist's bloodline a major part of its story, and in this episode we get a new, if pejorative name for them. And apparently, there are quite a few of them out there. Tainted Ones are individuals like the Eagle Bearer who have First Civilization ancestry, and who can therefore fill out that lovely skill tree with godlike abilities. The Order of Ancients is here to restore order, the usual Templar stuff, by offing the Eagle Bearer and making sure they don't get too big for their boots. The main antagonist you'll meet in Hunted claims to have killed a few Tainted Ones already, with more out there to hunt. It's very possible that this is a tease we'll get to meet others down the line.
They are Persians, you say?
Darius claims to have killed King Xerxes himself.
Ha! You don't believe that, do you?
I do believe it. Of all the lies he could tell, that's one of the most unbelievable.
While Legacy of the First Blade prioritizes story over exploration, it's very likely you'll still be spending time in places you haven't seen much of before. Hunted specifically is set in the remote Macedonia region of the map, somewhere which has existed in the game since day one, apparently just for this purpose. After playing the first episode pre-launch at Ubisoft's London office, Eurogamer's resident AC expert Tom Phillips went back to the region in his own save at home, confirming the locations it provides have all been there in-game, waiting. While this is interesting, it would have been nice to have seen somewhere new, been given a new bit of map in Persia to explore even. But the story conceit of the Order turning up in Greece and the action playing out there works well enough. One thing that does change is a whole new Order of the Ancients targets page, accessible through the Cult of Cosmos HUD. Hunting down all of these figures is one of a small number of things to do when you finish Hunted's 2 to 3 hour set of story missions, along with a couple of other enjoyable side quests thrown in for good measure. There are some figures who, if you hunt them down ahead of time, will make certain boss fights easier for you in the long run. Again, there's nothing hugely revelatory here, but it is still the first episode in a 3-part arc. And more than anything, honestly, it's just good to simply spend more time with your Odyssey character, in our case, Cassandra, and see her eye-rolling and reacting to a new set of issues, as well as catching up with Barnabas again.
Question is, do you trust him?
I trust Darius. He's mysterious, but not a liar.
That said, there isn't a great deal in the way of new ideas here. Quests are the sort you've seen before. Save a burning village, investigate the source of a suspicious sickness, track down and sink some bandit ships, hunt some animals, murder a bunch of guys and gals who probably deserve it. But there are some intriguing moments, in particular when the story forces you to question your actions and justify whether you're always doing things for the right reasons, or you're just telling yourself you are. We'll see whether this, and questioning the themes of bloodlines and family honour, is something that Ubisoft carries over into episodes 2 and 3. Ubisoft has done a fantastic job expanding the world of Assassin's Creed Odyssey since its release with free side missions, mercenary and naval targets, as well as the game's built-in procedurally generated quest system, all on top of a simply enormous game to begin with. We get the feeling next year's second story arc, set in Atlantis, is going to be the one where Ubisoft really gets creative, just as with Odyssey's afterlife-infused Curse of the Pharaohs. But until then, we need no excuse to return to the world of Odyssey. It's a welcoming place to roam where our character feels truly powerful, as opposed to some of the other slogging open-world games released this year. And the lure of Legacy's story is certainly enough. Will you be picking it up? Let us know in the comments, and if you haven't already, subscribe to Eurogamer and click that bell icon for more from AC Odyssey in the very near future. Thanks for watching. Bye!